You've probably noticed it. There's this quiet revolution happening. You see it in bars, in your friend groups, and all over your social media feeds. It's a huge cultural shift that's basically changing the whole definition of what a good night out even is. And the most interesting part? It's not about some new thing we're adding to the mix. It's actually about mindfully taking something away. An old friend called alcohol. And this goes way beyond what's in your glass. It's about what's going on in your head. So what's the deal? Why are millions of people, especially young people, suddenly ditching their cocktails for mocktails? That is the big mystery we are going to unpack right now for Explorers. Okay, so to really get this, we first need to understand the whole philosophy behind it. And it all starts with this simple but actually really powerful idea, being sober curious. So at its core, being sober curious just means asking yourself, hey, why am I drinking right now? It's not about some strict all-or-nothing rule. It's way more flexible than that. It's a personal choice to drink a little less and be more mindful because you want to feel better. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Now, this right here is a super important distinction. Being sober curious is not the same thing as being in a traditional recovery program like AA. It's a wellness choice, kind of like cutting back on sugar, not a medical necessity. And honestly, getting this difference is the key to understanding why the whole movement has such a massive appeal. Okay, so we've defined the what, but the real question, the juicy part, is the why. Why is this trend absolutely exploding right now? Let's dig into the core of this whole generational shift. So the scale of this is, well, it's just staggering. More than half of young adults who drink are actively trying to consume less alcohol. This isn't some niche little trend. This is a full-blown mainstream movement for strategists. And it really boils down to three main drivers. Think of this as the framework for getting the Gen Z mindset. They want mental clarity, they want to protect their digital image, and they want financial freedom. If you're part of this crowd, you know that feeling of being in control is absolutely everything. And look, the data totally backs this up. This 2025 study paints a really clear picture. It's a powerful mix of wanting to be healthy, making smart money choices, and just choosing for yourself instead of giving in to social pressure. And notice that personal choice is the biggest slice of the pie. That's a really key insight right there. And this quote, this gets right to the heart of it all. For a generation that grew up totally online, being in control of their health, their image, their money is the ultimate goal. Alcohol, which kind of by definition means a loss of control, is starting to look more and more like a liability. So we've got the why, but what about the how? How did this personal choice suddenly turn into a global phenomenon so fast? Well, the answer, not surprisingly, is social media, but maybe not in the way you're thinking. See, here's the thing that almost no one talks about. This isn't just a bunch of influencers posting pictures. This is about the hidden architecture of platforms like TikTok. They're literally designed to create these super focused, really supportive online spaces we call microcommunities. So here's the blueprint. The algorithm finds people who are even just thinking about their drinking habits and pulls them into a digital safe harbor like #SoberTalk. And then, instantly, the social pressure just flips. It's no longer about defending why you're not drinking, it's about sharing why sobriety feels so empowering. This creates this incredible level of trust and just normalizes the whole journey. For explorers, for strategists. All right, this brings us to the most fun, creative part of the whole movement, the drinks themselves. Because if you're not drinking alcohol, what are you drinking? So let's get into the upgraded mocktail playbook. First things first, let's just get this straight. Forget everything you think you know about mocktails. We are not talking about a sad glass of orange juice here. The modern mocktail is like a work of art. It's complex, it's layered, and it's genuinely delicious. For all the explorers watching, check this out. The Maple Morning. It uses zero-proof bourbon, aperitif syrup, even cooled coffee. I mean, can you imagine the flavors? It has all the depth and the ritual of a super high-end cocktail. It just proves that you don't need alcohol to have sophistication. But hey, you don't need to be a professional mixologist to get in on this. Here's a super safe and practical way to start. The Mongo Muley is so simple. 3 basic ingredients, a quick stir, and boom, you have a fantastic, refreshing drink. It's totally doable, even if you're brand new to this whole thing. And this is a point that people like us really get. A huge part of the appeal is the whole vibe, the aesthetic, the ritual. Like the creator Kimmy Ruth says, just having a cute little drink in a cute little cup is an immediate mood boost. It's all about the experience, not the ethanol. Okay, so this is obviously way more than just a TikTok trend. It's a fundamental shift that is literally reshaping entire industries and defining the future of how we socialize. So let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture here. You know what they say, follow the money. The non-alcoholic beverage market is forecast to be worth over $1.6 trillion. And in places like the UK, the sector is growing by a massive 36% every year. That's a direct reflection of a permanent change in what people want to buy.
For strategists,
And you can just see the evolution so clearly on this timeline. It started as an idea in a book. It completely blew up on TikTok. It became a mainstream ritual like Dry January. And now it's even becoming a whole travel industry with dry tripping and sober cruises. This is how a niche idea becomes a cultural institution. So what this all adds up to is something experts are calling structural permanence. In simple terms, this isn't a fad. It's here to stay. It's supported by real physical places like alcohol-free bars, a ton of books and articles, and most importantly, it aligns perfectly with the core values of an entire generation, for strategists, for social smarts. So where does all this leave us? Well, we're in a world where mental clarity, authenticity, and control are the new currency of cool. The whole idea of a happy hour is totally up for debate. And that leads to one last, really interesting question for you. What does your ideal happy hour actually look like?
If this touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with your family. Save this for more meaningful content ahead.